Tonight on News 5 Live, former Belize Rural South candidate Jazali Azweta is expelled from the United Democratic Party. UDP Chairman Mike Perfit explains the failed protest in San Pedro and his questionable choice of language during the demonstration. The definitive agreement. Former Attorney General Mike Perfit says he knew of the controversial document, but was unaware that it had been signed. And in tonight's episode of Culture Tuesday, the historic significance of the Battle of St. George's Key. Was it real? These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
My beautiful Belize, my land of the free, my home and it's bound by the Caribbean Sea. Belize, we are free and independent, we're free and independent, free and independent, to be whatever you wanna be, free and independent, we're free and independent, free and independent, we're changing our country, we're free, so make we celebrate with smart, come celebrate with smart, make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart. So make we celebrate with smart. Come celebrate with smart. Make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart.
The entire Smart family wishes all Belizeans a safe and happy September celebration. Smart, bringing people together.
Shop smart for your Samsung devices in Belize and enjoy benefits you won't get anywhere else. When you shop locally for your Samsung, all your devices will be covered by a 1-year local warranty. You won't get that when shopping with the other guys. When in doubt, always look for the Cellular World seal to know you're getting the real deal. Shop with confidence and enjoy your Galaxy knowing that it can be repaired locally at our Samsung Service Center by certified Samsung technicians using original parts and machinery. Even better, enjoy the best LTE experience in Belize, knowing that your Samsung devices are compatible with major local carrier networks. Get the ultimate Samsung Galaxy experience only when you shop from authorized Samsung resellers nationwide.
Caribbean Sprinter is proud to offer our best available rates to Belize residents online at sprinter.bz. Register today for our Sprinter Rewards program located on the resident section of our website. Skip the line when you book online with online check-in.
It's carnival time, and once again, Channel 5 will bring you all the fun and excitement of this year's Carnival Road March. Our live coverage starts at 1 p.m. on Saturday, September 9th, with highlights of the King and Queen competition, mass camps, and Juve, leading up to this year's spectacular Road March. Don't miss all the sights and sounds of Carnival 2023 right here on Channel 5 and on our Facebook and YouTube pages.
My Social Security. Your direct online access to all your Social Security information. 360 view of all your Social Security information. Registration services, benefits, contributions, and employer services at your fingertips. Enjoy all the new features with your My Social Security account. Register with SSB. Submission of benefit claims. Submission of contribution statements. View contribution record. Enjoy all your My Social Security feature at ssbportal.org.bz. Social Security at your fingertips.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Tuesday, September 5th. I am Sabrina Daly. Former Belize Rural South Standard Bearer Jezeli Azueta has been expelled from the United Democratic Party following the political fracas that ensued over the weekend during the National Party Council. As we've reported, Azueta and another member of the UDP executive in that constituency issued a public statement drawing distance between supporters of the party on the island town and the central executive in respect of a protest that was scheduled during the 2023 Belize Investment Summit. According to party leader San Pedro, Azueta was free to voice her opinion internally, but taking to social media to issue a public statement went against the party's position that such matters should be handled in-house. Earlier today, Barrow spoke with the media and shared with us what has transpired since the NPC meeting.
Internally, I believe there are mechanisms by which you can present your criticisms, your dissatisfactions, but externally that should never take place. And so the Central Executive met and we decided that it was totally outrageous and unacceptable, and we recommended to the National Party Council that the standard bearer be removed because we found out that it was not the entire executive. The executive supplicated to us that they were not even aware that a public statement was being issued until it was actually issued. The secretary herself said that she wanted to cry and she asked that it immediately be retracted, and it fell on deaf ears. So we ascertained that it was only the standard bearer and the chairman who resigned, our chairman resigned. And so we went to the MPC, which the MPC allows everyone the opportunity to be heard. So even though the Central Executive recommended it, and we're celebrating 50 years of the United Democratic Party. So these are the mechanisms that have been in place before me and will be in place after me. And the National Party Council, by a vote of 57 or 60 to 12, decided that the recommendation of the Central Executive, not Shine Barrow, because I'm going to take legal action against these people that are putting out these untruths. I did not ask that anybody be removed or expelled.
According to Barrow, there is no explanation that can be offered by Azueta that justified her action, as well as that of her fellow committee member. Regarding the heated exchange between himself and Albert Area Representative Tracy Panton, the leader of the opposition says he stopped short of calling any names in respect of an allegation that was made during the NPC.
There is no political logic, there is no political rationale or reasoning to not want to protest. There is no logic to not want to issue a condemnation, a public condemnation of Andre Perez and his alleged criminal behavior. He's accused of sexual assault. There is no logic to not wanting to recall Andre Perez. So when my standard bearer, or the former standard bearer, is refusing to do anything about Andre Perez, but will instead condemn the party who put her in that position, something is wrong. So we have to consider all relationships. So it was important for the MPC to understand there is a personal relationship there for someone that works for. That's what I said. The member from Alberts could say whatever she wants to say. I will speak for myself. I did not call anyone's name. I did not refer to anyone's gender, anyone's daughter. There is a relationship there, a personal one, with someone that works for certain elements that we have cause to suspect may have been involved, may not have been involved. But we have a right to put that before our National Party Council for consideration.
On Thursday, UDP Chairman Mike Perifete led a small group of protesters to picket in front of the bakery belonging to Belize Rural South Area Representative Andre Perez in San Pedro. The demonstration failed to gain traction from other residents and supporters on the island. But during the march, Perifete can be heard using language that is unbecoming of a parliamentarian. This morning, he attempted to explain his choice of words and why he believes that the ruling party is responsible for the offensiveness that Belizeans are experiencing under the Briceño administration.
What is vulgar is the Prime Minister saying that since 2021 till now, as you brought up earlier, Marisol, there's been $600 million invested directly because of that summit. Where is it? We don't see it. What is vulgar is the fact that you have the price of fuel just keeps going up and up and up. What is vulgar is a crime situation that's out of control. And so all of that will be ignored because I used a synonym for a chicken. I mean, had I not said that word, what? Everything would have been all right and the country would have been in shape. No, man, they will not use that as some red herring to distract from the maladministration that they are conducting. We have problems. We were out there had they simply allowed us to just peacefully picket, to demonstrate that we live in a democracy, to demonstrate to the investors that voices can be heard other than just the government's. Well, then people are going to say things in the heat of the moment that they may not have said otherwise. But we were there to picket against what this government is doing to this country.
Former Attorney General Michael Parafit has responded to a claim that the erstwhile Minister of Economic Development, Erwin Contreras, has made through his attorney in respect of Portico's definitive agreement. In legal papers filed on his behalf, Contreras, who signed the controversial document, alleges the past Attorney General, along with the government of Belize, were in negotiations with the principals of Port of Magical Belize. This morning, Mike Parafit commented on the claim.
He said he was aware that there were some negotiations going on between the government, myself, and Portico concerning this definitive agreement. Well, maybe that's what he feels like he had to say. Or maybe somebody told him to say that. But I can tell you that is categorically not true. He could not have known about any negotiations between the government, myself, and Portico because there were no negotiations happening. I repeat, I got a call with a request that there was a definitive agreement out there that Portico wanted me to sign. I said absolutely not. I'm not signing any definitive agreement because we're not there yet. Cabinet hasn't even considered that yet, and I can only sign after Cabinet instructs me to do so. I also said, do not send any document to me, do not send anything to me, send it to the then chairperson of the investment committee, which Portico obviously did. And that was the one that the Prime Minister read in the National Assembly and tried to pretend like it was sent to me when in fact it was sent to the Honorable Tracy Panton, which is not saying that the Honorable Panton did anything wrong. When you're in government, a lot of things get sent to you. I repeat this position. I was aware that there was a definitive agreement going around because they wanted me to sign one. I said, I will not sign that. I did not become aware that it was signed and signed by one of our ministers at the time until earlier in this year when everybody found that out. I was the one who wrote to the Prime Minister in the first place to say, Prime Minister, I'm being informed that there is a signed definitive agreement going around and I want to see it.
Coming up, Bowen & Bowen Limited truck runs over man in Belize City. We'll have more details when we come back.
Hello friends, I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good." Men throughout all ages and eternity have sought to deny the reality of Christ and His resurrection. Dr. Paul Tillich was one of those men. On one occasion, he spoke for 2.5 hours trying to prove his belief and concluded that there was no such thing as a historical resurrection and that it was only a religious tradition of the church. He then asked if there were any questions. A rather old man, seemingly uneducated, a preacher, stood up and said, "Dr. Tillich, I got one question." And he reached down into a sack lunch and pulled out an apple and began eating it. "Dr. Tillich, my question is a simple question. Now, I ain't never read them books you read, and I can't recite the scriptures in the original Greek." And he finished eating the apple. He then said, "All I want to know is, Dr. Tillich, this apple I just ate, was it bitter or sweet?" Dr. Tillich paused for a moment and answered in a scholarly fashion, "I cannot possibly answer that question, for I haven't tasted your apple." The old white-headed, uneducated preacher dropped the core of his apple into his crumpled paper bag, looked up at Dr. Tillich and said calmly, "Neither have you tasted my Jesus." The famed doctor promptly left the platform. The Bible says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is a man who trusts in Him." Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
We're outside with Did You Want?
We don't want no bad vibes in the mass. Because everybody ready up for the mass. Because all ready to jump, all ready to play, all ready for mass, ready to make we name, all ready to jump hard and wave hard and jump hard and wave hard. No better pick a side, cause now we ready to ride it. This side of fire, this side of energy, a positive energy, and they cannot damage it. My side of fire, my side of energy, a positive energy, and they cannot damage it. Show me now everything, show me now everything, up in the sky there. Tell them to pick a side, oh. Show me now everything, up in the sky there. Tell them to pick a side. All the pain make me stronger, I suffer no longer. The harder the fight, Lord, the victory sweet. We just time in me life, no, man, nothing no bother me. I pull up an energy, can't stop me now. All ready to jump, all ready to play, all ready for mass, ready to make we name, all ready to jump hard and wave hard and jump hard and wave hard. No better pick a side, cause now we ready to ride it. Nah, 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 nah.
Mr. Gulab Sharma and Mr. David Gegg say their Portico project will destroy only 20 acres of mangroves. But that is a shameless lie. Listen to what Belize's expert on mangroves, Ms. Nadia Budd, has to say about it.
We know that it could result in devastating impact on mangroves within the region. So it will lead to, impact, significant loss of mangrove coverage, and that's of course a concern for us because we are working to try and protect mangroves for the benefit of Belize and Belizeans.
Do you believe it's in numbers of 400 acres? Because the other developers say 20 acres.
It's forecasted around, almost, 1,000, acres, no? Yeah, but so it is a concern.
Yes, you heard right. It's 1,000 acres.
Almost, 1,000, acres.
Not 20. Mr. Sharma and Mr. Gegg, Belizeans will not allow you and Royal Caribbean to destroy
almost 1,000 acres.
Acres of pristine mangrove forest our children are to inherit. Portico, bad for the environment, bad for Belize.
That'll be $50. Thank you. Wait, hey, this 50 is a fake.
Well, how do you know it's a fake?
What are you talking about, sir? How can I identify a genuine note from a fake note?
Well, a genuine 50 has a watermark with the jaguar and the written words of the 50, also a thread.
Know your money and know a fake one when you see it. Do not rely on any one security feature. Look for the clarity and quality of printing. The printed lines and colors should be sharp and clear. Feel the quality of the paper and the raised print. Hold the note up to the light to see the windowed security thread. It should form one complete line when held up to the light. The watermark and denominational electrotype. The jaguar is the watermark in the $100 and $50 notes. The sleeping giant is the watermark in the $20, $10, $5, and $2 notes. The see-through feature. The parts of the design printed on the back should fit exactly within the unprinted areas of the front to form the complete design. Check the $100 note for the toucan hologram with the periwinkle flower overprint. Tilt it to see the small images of the toucan and the numeral 100. Check the $50 note for the green foil angelfish. Check even closer. Use an ultraviolet light to see the fluorescent features. Use a magnifier to see the microlettering. Tiny letters that read Central Bank of Belize and the value of the note. Stop the circulation of counterfeit Belize currency notes. Pass all counterfeits to the police at once. It is a criminal offense to hold or use a counterfeit. Be safe, be sure, know your money.
It's carnival time, and once again, Channel 5 will bring you all the fun and excitement of this year's Carnival Road March. Our live coverage starts at 1 p.m. on Saturday, September 9th, with highlights of the King and Queen competition, mass camps, and Juve, leading up to this year's spectacular road march. Don't miss all the sights and sounds of Carnival 2023 right here on Channel 5 and on our Facebook and YouTube pages.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
One man is dead following a traffic accident in Belize City. Reports are that sometime around 5 p.m. on Monday, 67-year-old Fidel Guardado fell from his bicycle on Vernon Street when a Bowen & Bowen Limited bus collided into him. As a result, the bus ran over Guardado, causing his fatal injuries. Information to News 5 is that Guardado, a security guard, was on his way to work when the incident occurred. Guardado's death has left residents in the area calling for pedestrian ramps in the area and more care and attention from drivers. News 5's Paul Lopez visited the scene this morning. He filed the following report.
67-year-old Fidel Guardado was on his way to work from his home on Glen Street in Belize City when he lost his life. According to police, Guardado was on Vernon Street when a Bowen & Bowen bus, driven by 43-year-old Lauren Lopez, collided into him. Guardado fell to the pavement and the bus ran over him. Cruz Guardado, a daughter of the deceased, spoke with us off camera.
My parents live in San Jose original long time, come from Salvador, work right here, and he worked right here at Belize for security. Yeah, and yesterday we did a village when somebody called away and he said he get knocked down, and then we come today.
Near the scene of the accident, Joseph Gardner, a resident of Vernon Street, also spoke with us off camera. He told us what he saw.
It was a sad day because before that I was sitting here with a couple friends having some beers and talking, and then all of a sudden I saw the traffic, started back up, and I went out to see what happened. So when I went down there, I saw the guy lay down on the ground with his skull crushed and brains out of his head. And I came right back, and I didn't want to stay there. People taking pictures.
On Monday night, Bowen & Bowen issued a statement confirming that it was in fact one of their company buses that was involved in the incident. The company noted in the statement that they are cooperating with the investigation and will assist in any way possible to help in determining what transpired.
But we think that my father at work, and when somebody called me and said that my father get knocked down, or I heard get knocked down by the boss, born, and we gone today and then said then the investigation will happen, so we the wait.
This is a very small street, and a kid could just run out and boom. So you got to take it easy. They got to slow down. I think they need some, what you call it, sleeping policemen across the street to slow things down, until they reach a bridge. Between 4 and 5 in the evening, the traffic get heavy. There's a lot of vehicle pass through here, because this is like the outlet. Cemetery Road is the inlet, and it's a very busy street,
Cruz Guardado says her family will wait for the police's investigation to conclude in order to determine their next course of action. In the immediate, Cruz says her family needs financial assistance for funeral costs.
Just want make one of the boss help we, in things. Cause we poor, we don't have nothing. We need help. Yeah, only that. Only want help.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
The municipal elections are set for next March, and the two-term PUP Mayor Bernard Wagner has expressed his wish to serve for a third time in that capacity, but without having to go to an election convention with other mayoral candidates. And today, when News 5's Marian Ali caught up with him, he was steadfast on that position on grounds that he has unfinished projects to carry out. Based on previous reports in political circles that Wagner had his eye on the Albert constituency, she did ask him, however, that if he does not get his way for the municipal convention, whether he would consider running in the general elections thereafter. This was how he responded.
We have in the pipeline our e-buses, our e-taxis. We continue to really enhance our smart city vision of really driving the type of change in respect to understanding that climate change is here. We are doing our massive infrastructure ambition of over 90 streets. We have been able to complete over 40 plus. Close to over 1/3 of those streets have been completed, and we continue to drive that type of infrastructural development in the city.
If it is that the party decides to entertain the other mayoral candidates and they go to an electoral convention, will your position change then, and will you consider joining maybe on that bigger stage to run at the national level?
My thing here is to complete the job at City Hall. Convention, I have already indicated my position. If they do go to convention, then I'll just walk away from it. That is their right.
You're not looking at Albert?
No, the party has its right to decide if they want to go convention or they don't want to go convention. And I respect them for their right. I also have my rights as well.
So Albert isn't on the horizon for you. If you move past that stage where the municipals are behind you, then are you looking at Albert on a national stage?
I can't say that. That's a party decision. But in politics, as they say, anything is possible, right?
The robotics team from Belize High School is keenly working on a robot that they will take to compete in this year's first global robotics competition. The BHS team is the defending champion after having captured gold at the annual Global Challenge last year in Switzerland. This year, the team has to build a robot that will be able to carry out a sequence of tasks that will impress the judges. The team comprises of 5 students who say they are ready. The competition will take place next month in Singapore, and today News 5's Marian Ali stopped by to talk to a couple of the students and their teachers. Here's that report.
These students of Belize High School are preparing the robot for next month's Global Robotics Challenge in Singapore. Their IT director, Godfrey Sosa, says there's a lot of complexities involved in putting the robot together.
It pushes the level for STEAM education in terms of really bringing out where we apply science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics to something like this. So,
are they getting guidance from anyone?
yes, and we have 4 mentors that are also, along with myself, that was also a part of this team. We'll be competing in the first Global Challenge competition. This includes almost 194 countries from around the world, and Belize is a part of that. So what you're looking at is the robotics team, and from this team, 5 of our top students will be selected to attend the first Global Challenge in Singapore in October this year. Last year, we managed to really put Belize on the map and get eyes on us. In terms of winning the first Global Challenge competition last year in Geneva, Switzerland.
That's the overall competition?
Yes, so we came back and we brought back gold. I mean, that was a big thing for us.
The event is so big for the team that they've given up all their free time to prepare for this competition. Third form student Carrie Domingo told us they're hoping now to finish the project a little bit early so they can have a little bit of free time before leaving.
With the robot itself, it takes lots of time, right? We can't just go straight into it and get it done in a week. It takes time, effort, designing, everything. So us as a team, we spent our entire summer here in this room working on the robot itself. So every day we came in, we worked from 8 to 5, we had our lunch, and we just had to work on this every single day. And even up to today, we still stay back after school to actually get the work done.
Fourth-year student Sebastian Garcia explained what the robot will be expected to do.
This is our robot for the first global competition, and the task of this competition is to be able to collect hydrogen and oxygen balls and store them in a hydrogen hub, which is a 3-foot tall container. When we started building, our first thing was to prototype, because we wanted to see, okay, what would work and what wouldn't work. So when we started prototyping, we're like, okay, certain things may need more parts than others, and we started dividing into how we can minimize the amount of parts we use so that we don't use too many, so just in case anything were to go wrong, we have spares and extras to be able to fix it.
But all of this would not be possible were it not for the school's principal, Jamie Usher, whose vision several years back led to a partnership between Belize High School and FIRST, a company in the U.S. that specializes in all things STEAM. She won an award recently, BH's academic counselor Jenny Lee Francisco shared with us.
Our principal, Mrs. Jamie Usher, received an award from FIRST. It's one of the awards as a FIRST educator, out of 194 countries. So this award is very distinctive to our country, Belize, as she's representing our nation. FIRST stands for the inspiration of science and technology, and this award is from that company. We have several programs that our school works with FIRST, which is the First Robotics Challenge, First Global Challenge. What we do here at Belize High School, we incorporate it and we share our knowledge to incorporate and put Belize on the map. And within our curriculum, we share with our teachers that STEAM is not a separate curriculum, but it's an integration.
The school is planning for 2 other big events following its October competition in Singapore. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marian Ali.
The cost of fuel went up again last week amid the oppressive inflation that is affecting Belizean consumers. But is the sudden hike in the price per gallon of fuel directly and adversely affecting the cost of goods and services? That's what we asked opposition leader Shine Barrow when he appeared this morning on Open Your Eyes. Here's how he responded.
Do you believe that the situation is perhaps exacerbated by the fact that there was a recent hike in the cost of fuel at the pumps? Because normally when the price of fuel goes up, people will say, well, the cost of importation is directly pegged to that, and then the consumer has to be the one to absorb that increase. So we're looking at a situation where the government has put certain things or systems in place to be able to deal with price gouging and the overall inflation matter. But on the other hand, quietly raise the cost of fuel. Do you believe that that makes the problem worse?
Energy is the genesis of all of our problems when it comes to these high gas prices, the highest ever historically in Belize. And this is merely a way for the government to pay its bills straight up, no cap. They're just using the cost of fuel to pay bills, when what they promised was the exact opposite. And I gave the solution in the House of Representatives. I presented the solution on one of the other morning shows recently, and it goes again to point of purchase. Puma, or whoever the entity is that the government, that all fuel entities buy from, they're allowed to just give an invoice. And I think they call it spot market. They purchase and they just give you an invoice. Their invoice does not reflect the market. So when it goes up, when it goes down, it doesn't matter. They just give us an invoice. So I believe that arrangement needs to be amended and negotiated, because the prices have fallen dramatically in the region and globally. You can no longer use the war in Ukraine as a reason for high fuel prices, because the prices in the United States, the prices in different countries, they have fallen dramatically.
After the break, in tonight's Culture Tuesday, Belizean historical events in September. We'll tell you about that, but first, here's the weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
We value your loyalty. Join our Sprinter Rewards program by contacting us today on the web at sprinter.bz and start earning points towards award travel. Sailing 5 or more segments a month gets you bonus points. So what are you waiting for?
Improving lives, delivering quality. Water for you and me. In Belize, BWS, we make it happen.
As we gather for this year's annual general meeting, it is evident that the past year has been defined by a series of extraordinary challenges. In the face of these intricate challenges, it is essential to commend and acknowledge the tireless endeavors of Belize Water Services to optimize efficiency and ensure sustained profitability.
As we reflect on the past year, BWS's commitment to excellence and to improving the lives of Belizeans has been unwavering. The company engaged in continued improvements to its infrastructure, expansion of its water distribution network, employee training and development, and in building strong connections within the communities it serves.
The fiscal year 2022-2023 bore witness to laudable progress of BWS, as our overall revenue surged to $52 million, Belize, reflecting a remarkable growth of 6.8% compared to the preceding year. BWS has diligently executed prudent cost-saving measures over the past year, affirming our commitment to maintaining operational viability.
But the staff of BWS united as one to ensure the safety and well-being of our employees, and also they did everything in their power to protect the assets, the equipment, the building and facilities of BWS. We want to express gratitude to all our employees.
As we stride into the future with resolve and adaptability, our commitment to excellence and resilience remains resolute. We are confident in the path we have charted for Belize Water Services and its enduring contribution to our communities.
BWS remains committed to improving its quality of product and services to enhance the lives of Belizeans.
Improving lives, delivering quality. Water for you and me in Belize. BWS, we make it happen.
It is important for us to show as a citizen that we are totally and completely 100% dissatisfied in the high cost of fuel.
Remember that, Prime Minister, when you railed against the high cost of fuel?
The burden that he's putting on the Belizean people is just way too much. We are at a breaking point, and he needs to act, and he needs to act as soon as possible.
Yet in 2023, you're happy to raise the price of diesel to Belize $13 per gallon. But Belizeans know why. It's because you own a gas station and directly benefit from this decision, while the rest of us suffer. You don't feel the hit like the working men and women of Belize because you get a $4,000 vehicle allowance every single month, paid for by the people. How are we supposed to trust a leader who doesn't care about the suffering of his people? These are your words, Prime Minister.
He needs to reduce the tax by at least $2 so that we can keep the price of fuel under $10. At the very least, that is what he needs to do. But I will not believe him until I see that he has taken corrective action.
Will you take corrective action, Prime Minister? Or will you just keep raking in the profits from your gas station? John Bersenia is for the privileged, not for the poor.
Atlantic Insurance informs our valued customers and the general public that effective September 18th, 2023, our corporate headquarters and Belcan branch will be moving. Our new location, the Atlantic Insurance Tower, located at 2.5 miles Philip Wilson Highway. All our phone numbers will remain the same. Our Collet and Albert branches will remain at their existing locations. Join the Atlantic Insurance family today and experience the future of insurance. Atlantic Insurance, insuring you from life's unexpected.
Seeing government performance and making government more efficient and effective at what it is supposed to do. So when you're looking at the Constitution, when you're looking at any law, when you're looking at any policy or any decision-making process, part of this concept of accountability has to do with the efficiency and effectiveness to which we make decisions and to which we deliver goods and services. And corruption is a detriment to that. But corruption and dealing with corruption is not a focus. The focus is on dealing with good government. Government that is performing, government that is delivering, government that is effective.
It's time for you, me, and all our way.
Babe, have you seen the advisory that NEMA just posted? There's going to be a storm.
Storm? It's not a storm. That's just a little rain. We'll be all right.
Thank goodness that was only a simulation. But what if it wasn't? Consider this. You've worked hard building your future, your family, your business, your home. RF&G Insurance has policy options that can protect your most valued assets so that you can focus on what matters most. Include RF&G Insurance in your hurricane prep. Remember, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a Road Group company.
My beautiful Belize, my land of the free, my home and it's bound by the Caribbean Sea. Belize, we are free and independent. We're free and independent, free and independent to be whatever you wanna be. Free and independent, we're free and independent, free and independent. We're changing our country, we're free. So make we celebrate with smart. Come celebrate with smart. Make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart. So make we celebrate with smart. Come celebrate with smart. Make we celebrate with smart. Let's celebrate with smart.
The entire SMART family wishes all Belizeans a safe and happy September celebration. SMART, bringing people together.
Mr. Gulab Sharma and Mr. David Gegg say their Portico project will destroy only 20 acres of mangroves. But that is a shameless lie. Listen to what Belize's expert on mangroves, Ms. Nadia Budd, has to say about it.
We know that it could result in devastating impact on mangroves within the region. So it will lead to, impact, significant loss of mangrove coverage, and that's of course a concern for us because we are working to try and protect mangroves for the benefit of Belize and Belizeans.
But do you believe it's in numbers of 400 acres? Because the other developers say 20 acres.
It's forecasted around, almost, 1,000, acres, no? Yeah, but so it is a concern.
Yes, you heard right. It's 1,000 acres.
Almost, 1,000, acres.
Not 20. Mr. Sharma and Mr. Gegg, Belizeans will not allow you and Royal Caribbean to destroy
almost 1,000 acres.
Acres of pristine mangrove forest our children are to inherit. Portico, bad for the environment, bad for Belize.
In the spirit of September celebrations, government officials gathered this morning in front of the Sir Edney Kane building in Belmopan for a flag-raising ceremony. The building houses the office of the Prime Minister in Belmopan. Students from the United Evergreen Primary School were also in attendance as invited guests. Here is more from the event.
An important part of these celebrations, and I know the young people will be thinking, is carnival, when you go marching around the streets of Belize City, and also, for instance, in Orange Walk on the 21st. So I take the opportunity right now to put in a plug on behalf of the Mayor of Orange Walk and Mayor Emeritus Kevin Bernard to invite you all to come to Orange Walk and celebrate. But an important part of all of this celebration is to think and to reflect as to who we are as a nation. And the best symbolism of who we are as a nation is our national flag. The Belizean national flag is a symbol of our nation's freedom, our desire to live in a democratic nation, and it is a symbol that unites all of us.
I sense, as we embark on this month of celebrations, that there is a spirit of optimism in our country, a spirit of hope, as I said. And if we work together, I believe that we can fulfill that hope. And we are all called upon to do more, be more for Belize. And I want to especially close by thanking the young people, as I said, for being here, our students. We are very proud of you, all the work that we do in Belize. All the groundwork that has been laid by those who came before us is really about your future, ensuring that we pass on to you a stronger Belize, a better Belize, and a Belize that we can all love.
This year, the theme for the September celebrations is Hope Ignited, Hands United, Vision Renewed, Belize at 42. It's a time used to reflect on who we are as a people. But how much of that history as a country do we actually know? In tonight's segment of Culture Tuesday, we look at the history of these two major events in shaping our Belizean identity and how it has evolved over the years. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Annually, the National Celebrations Commission issues a calendar of events to commemorate the patriotic month of September. It is a time when Belizeans at home and abroad recognize the jewel as part of their national heritage. But with that calendar are two specific dates: the Battle of St. George's Caye on the 10th of September and Independence Day on September 21st. The 1798 battle, for which victory was ours, is described as the first step towards an independent Belize.
I tend to term it as our first step towards independence. Although there was no real land consolidated at the time, we did have a move towards what eventually became our independence in 1981. And from then on, I think that we can look at it and see that an occurrence happened, and we adopted it in our celebrations, as a part of our inherent history, that we should celebrate the event. And coming into independence in 1981, that cemented the whole historical part of it, and our heritage, therefore, is also consolidated in that.
But there are political detractors who believe that this historical battle was symbolic. Lawrence Vernon, a former librarian who has done vast research looking back at our history, says that there is documented evidence. These can be found at libraries across the country and elsewhere.
Although in subsequent years it was sort of branded as a myth, mostly by firstly by the Guatemalans, and then it was taken up it was written, there was an article in the Belize Times that tended to support that. But that thing about the myth is I would say a silly statement, because in my research I have found, not only my research, I have found that in the British archives, in the Belize archives, that event is so well documented that there is no dispute that something happened, a battle happened, if you want to call it a battle, or a skirmish or a fight, but something did happen, because it is so well documented. Even the Spanish archives has it documented. So we cannot call it a myth.
These days went on to become public and bank holidays and form a cultural part of our Belizean history and identity. Vernon recounts the events of September 21st, 1981. While he was not among the spectators who gathered to witness the historical moment, it was a rainy day. Vernon was 45 years old at the time and says that it was an emotional moment as he watched it on television.
I remember I was at home and I was watching it on television, and I sort of felt a little emotional when the flag was raised, of course, because, you know, it was a great event for Belize. Political leanings aside, I think everybody had that feeling that we did achieve something that we can trace back to the 18th century.
The celebratory activities have now evolved to include events such as Carnival, the Expo Marketplace, and Panyard, as well as the Queen of the Bay. Although not all originated from Belize, they've become a part of our Belizean identity.
We can share the event with our other ethnic groups and have other events to celebrate the day. And this extension is important because, as you mentioned, Carnival, it did not really originate in Belize. We sort of copied it from the West Indies and South America. But that in itself is an inherent part of us now, the Carnival aspect of it. And it helps us to recognize more the significance of having an extension to the tent, and not merely just being in one situation all the time. The matter of you mentioned the Panyard and any other expos and things like that. I think those really are a good extensions of what we call the tent celebrations.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
When we return, an update on curriculum reform.
In exercise of the power conferred upon it by Section 7 of the Electricity Act, Chapter 221 of the Laws of Belize, and with the approval of the Minister, the Public Utilities Commission PUC, the Commission hereby notifies the general public that it intends to enact a bylaw in relation to electricity procurement and power purchase. The bylaw shall govern the procurement processes for wholesale, distributed energy resources, and short-term power purchases by addressing the roles of the Commission and the utilities. The bylaw seeks to secure public welfare, national security, and services at the best value for money. Further clarify the exercise by the Commission of its duties under the Public Utilities Commission Act and Electricity Act. Provide for increased conservation and efficiency of electricity resources by utilities and equitable retail rates for consumers, and detail the RFP and PPA processes. Regulatory tools to achieve the Commission's public interest mandate of setting tariffs for the provision of electricity service to the public. Members of the public are invited to give their comments by email info@puc.bz or post by 17 July 2021. The draft bylaw may be viewed in its entirety at the offices of the Commission at 41 Gabriel Lane, Belize City, or on the PUC website at www.puc.bz.
Because we wanna, yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trucks will roll, we're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trucks will roll, we're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives.
Honda Navi, a partner you can rely on. Benquip, equipment, parts, service.
it is important for us to show as a citizen that we are totally and completely 100% dissatisfied in the high cost of fuel.
Remember that, Prime Minister, when you railed against the high cost of fuel?
The burden that he's putting on the Belizean people is just way too much. We are at a breaking point, and he needs to act, and he needs to act as soon as possible.
Yet in 2023, you're happy to raise the price of diesel to Belize $13 per gallon. But Belizeans know why. It's because you own a gas station and directly benefit from this decision, while the rest of us suffer. You don't feel the hit like the working men and women of Belize because you get a $4,000 vehicle allowance every single month, paid for by the people. How are we supposed to trust a leader who doesn't care about the suffering of his people? These are your words, Prime Minister.
He needs to reduce the tax by at least $2 so that we can keep the price of fuel under $10. At the very least, that is what he needs to do. But I will not believe him until I see that he has taken corrective action.
Will you take corrective action, Prime Minister? Or will you just keep raking in the profits from your gas station? John Bersenia is for the privileged, not for the poor.
It's carnival time, and once again, Channel 5 will bring you all the fun and excitement of this year's Carnival Road March. Our live coverage starts at 1 p.m. on Saturday, September 9th, with highlights of the King and Queen competition, mass camps, and Juve, leading up to this year's spectacular Road March. Don't miss all the sights and sounds of Carnival 2023 right here on Channel 5 and on our Facebook and YouTube pages.
Every year, World Environment Day is celebrated on June 5, and the Department of the Environment within the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Climate Change and Disaster Risk Management joins the nation of Belize and other United Nations member countries in worldwide awareness and action to protect our environment, with this year's theme being to beat plastic pollution. We have seen the effects of climate change, now exacerbated by the effects of plastic pollution, primarily from single-use plastics. The Ministry, through the auspices of the Department of the Environment, has enacted the pollution from plastics regulation in 2020, noting that single-use plastics is of high environmental concern. This regulation sought to curb the environmental impacts associated with single-use plastics and to better promote green alternatives, which resulted in the development of national standards for biodegradable products.
The government of Belize, through the Department of Environment, has been controlling and enforcing these regulations to ensure that we protect Belize from the threats of plastic pollution. In so doing, nationwide market surveillance and product sampling has been conducted, resulting in enforcement actions which includes sale prohibition and confiscation of single-use plastics and styrofoam. The detrimental environmental impacts of single-use plastics are everyone's concern. The government calls upon all businesses, industries, civil societies, NGOs, and you, the citizens of Belize, to have civic pride and to help in the fight against plastic pollution and to further contribute to the national efforts in transitioning to a circular economy. Together, we can beat plastic pollution. Happy World Environment Day.
The Carnival Association, Empire Entertainment, and Travelers Liquor presents the return of the last laps inside the Marion Jones Sporting Complex. It's all going down on Saturday, September 9th. That's right, on Carnival Day, where the carnival will be finishing inside the stadium for the last laps and the judging of the 9 competing bands. Come out and cheer on your favorite band, and immediately thereafter, you get to get off the bleacher and come on onto the grounds for the first ever Rags and Flags party, featuring DJ Drea, all the way from Trinidad and Tobago, DJ Sambo, and it's all hosted by DJ Dixie and Yannicka Matthews. Giveaways will be fully loaded, and food and drinks will be on sale. Gates open from 3 p.m. and this party lasts until 8 p.m. It's the Rags and Flags Party, Saturday, September 9th, inside the Marion Jones Sporting Complex. See you there.
Keycocker, San Pedro, and Belize City are just a click away with Caribbean Sprinter. Avoid delays by getting your tickets and boarding passes online at sprinter.bz, and welcome aboard.
Mr. Gulab Sharma and Mr. David Gegg say their Portico project will destroy only 20 acres of mangroves. But that is a shameless lie. Listen to what Belize's expert on mangroves, Ms. Nadia Budd, has to say about it.
We know that it could result in devastating impact on mangroves within the region. So it will lead to, impact, significant loss of mangrove coverage, and that's of course a concern for us because we are working to try and protect mangroves for the benefit of Belize and Belizeans.
But do you believe it's in numbers of 400 acres? Because the other developers say 20 acres.
It's forecasted around, almost, 1,000, acres, no? Yeah, but so it is a concern.
Yes, you heard right. It's 1,000 acres.
Almost, 1,000, acres.
Not 20. Mr. Sharma and Mr. Gegg, Belizeans will not allow you and Royal Caribbean to destroy
almost 1,000 acres.
Acres of pristine mangrove forest our children are to inherit. Portico, bad for the environment, bad for Belize.
Make your summer better. Over $30,000 in cash and prizes with Smart Summer Sweepstakes. Here's how you can enter for a chance to win. Sign up for a smart postpaid, broadband, or VoIP plan. Use $100 or more regular prepaid credit. Do a SIM swap or text in to the short code 786. In the body of the message, enter the number of entries you would like to purchase.
No waste no time. You can be the winner of weekly prizes. All methods give you more chances to win local airline tickets, overnight stays at numerous resorts, cash prizes, gift certificates, and much, much more. One lucky person will win the grand prize valued at $10,000, courtesy of Smart and the Belize Tourism Board.
Promotion ends September 15th. So make your summer better by getting in the race to win with Smart's Summer Sweepstakes. Smart, bringing people together.
Were a number of teachers not consulted on the implementation of the new education curriculum? Since 2022, a competency-based curriculum has been rolled out, and earlier this year, stakeholders within the education sector have been traveling across the country to poll its success. When the media caught up with Minister of Education Francis Fonseca recently, he was asked about the allegations made that not all teachers were consulted on the curriculum reform and that some weren't provided with resources. Minister Fonseca says that the curriculum rollout for schools is recommended as a 3-year plan.
We put out a release addressing that issue. We're certainly not in any rush. We have worked very closely with our education community to implement the new curriculum framework. The BNTU has been there with us every step of the way. Senator Elena Smith represented the BNTU at every consultation across the country, widespread consultations, and we're not in any rush. As I believe the ministry has pointed out, we have asked the schools to put in place a 3-year plan. How can that be a rush? A 3-year plan for the implementation of this new curriculum framework. So we believe that there has been meaningful consultation with any change, especially curriculum reform, which is very transformative, very bold, very progressive, with any change of that nature, obviously there will be hiccups, there will be challenges, but we are approaching those in a spirit of compromise, a spirit of flexibility, working with our schools and working with our teachers to ensure that we address every and any concern that they have.
Minister of Education Francis Fonseca also gave an update on the situation at San Pedro High School. As was reported last month, there was structural damage to the high school and the ceiling caved. Last week, while attending the Belize Investment Summit, Minister Fonseca made a visit to the institution. He said that repairs are coming for the school, but also said that within the next 6 months, a project for the construction of a government preschool, primary school, and high school on the north side of San Pedro will commence.
I visited it and had an opportunity to meet with the teachers, the principal, the board. Some members of the board were there. We reviewed the whole school. They have gotten a private engineer to do an estimate of the works that are necessary. I believe they held a meeting with I don't know if they did it, but they told me they were going to have a meeting on Thursday evening with the parents and the community to discuss the engineer's findings and recommendations. So we have pledged to work along with the board and the principal and staff and teachers to see how we can get the place repaired. But the truth is, it's not as bad as it first appeared to be. What really happened is it's a false ceiling that collapsed. It's not a structural, the entire ceiling. It's a false ceiling that collapsed. But obviously when that collapsed, it reveals some structural deficiencies that have to be looked at. But I'm also happy to use this opportunity to report that within the next 6 months, this is a part of the project execution unit of the Ministry of Education. We are going to start the construction of a preschool, a primary school, and a government high school. All three government preschool, government primary school, and a government high school on the north side of San Pedro on Burgess Key. That will start in, I would say, in about 6 months. Obviously that will take probably about 2 years to complete, but we're happy, and we reported that to the community. We're happy that that project will finally get underway because that will relieve a lot of the pressures on the existing high school there.
The value of the project is not known at this time, but Minister Fonseca says that the funding will come from the third phase of CDB Education Project. The Belize City Council's Accelerator program is a few years old. It's a social program that the Belize City Council has spearheaded to help micro businesses become independent and self-sustainable. It does so through a partnership with Beltrade to provide training on how to manage a business. Today, the council handed out certificates to its latest cohort of micro entrepreneurs. Marcia Gillett Rodriguez is the proprietor of For You By Me Productions, a company that customizes items including cups, pillows, and shirts. She said the business was hardly afloat until she got the help and then exposure and stability.
I didn't know anything about this, but I found out about it through Mr. Fonseca, Mr. Francis, and I applied for it, and then I came here, and everything has changed since then. I have so many different opportunities now. I do stuff for Niche. I do stuff for like Fabro's Glass Company. Different big businesses found out about me, and it has been so good. They gave me the start. I didn't have a sewing machine, so I used to sew pillows on hand. So I used to sew pillows by hand, and then I got the machine, and then I guess it's just me coming up with different ideas and building myself over the years that I'm here now. But they gave me the start.
For the Belize City Council, the goal is to help as many city residents to become independent. Since the program started, he told us that it has had a high success rate, some to the point that they've had to hire a helper. And for those that haven't experienced good business, the mayor said the support system will remain in place to help them along.
We have been able to really assist 116 individual entrepreneurs, and out of that 116, I can say probably that 84% are still functioning and operating profitably, that even a couple of them have been able to hire additional help for their business.
How are these citizens selected, and what kind of assistance do they get from the council?
It's a mixed type of assistance. We have two sort of program within the BCAP. One which really engages in the social assistance component, but also one which not only do the social assistance component, but also do capacity building in terms of financial literacy, being able to put together a small and simple income statement, balance sheet, being able to price your products, being able to put together a business plan, put together your value propositions. It's not about today that we completely go a different direction. No, the program do follow-ups. Beltrade continue to do training with them. If they run into any sort of hiccups along the way, the City Council is always here to render further assistance.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5police.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.